Hi, I'm Jamey from Stonemaier Games, and today I'm going to talk about how to teach Wyrmspan. So this isn't notably how to play Wyrmspan, this is how to teach it. So once you know the basics of how to play Wyrmspan, or really know the rules, and you're ready to teach someone else, this is how I recommend getting that person into the game. If the person knows Wingspan, that's a big help. You can use that context to describe a number of things in Wyrmspan to that person, but they also will need a little bit of help because there's some key differences between Wyrmspan and Wingspan. And also, my preferred teaching method in general for games is not to teach all the rules to someone. If they're the type of person who wants to know all the rules in advance, I would recommend that they either read the rule book, they can watch a rules video on Meeple University, they can go through the DICEd interactive tutorial. There's lots of ways for that type of person who wants to know every single rule in advance to know those rules in advance. My teaching style is to give someone a brief overview of how to play, the core things they need to know, and then start taking turns, start experiencing turns so that they can learn as they go. So Wyrmspan comes with a few elements to help you actually play the game and also teach the game. And those are these cards. There's two double-sided cards. This one says it's a quick start suggestions and then some things to do on future turns. So it guides you through your first few turns. And then there's also a basic how to play overview and how to win. So how to score some points in this game. So give anyone that you're teaching, I would highly recommend that you give them both of these cards. I would start with the how to play card. So use the how to play card to give them a general overview of the game, this is a game where you'll be excavating caves using the excavate action so that you can play dragons onto those caves. There are 3 caves that are pre-excavated. You'll have to excavate the rest from left to right if you want to play dragons on them. And then you'll be exploring those caves using your adventurer meeple to gather a variety of benefits, and that your adventurer meeple can only move as far as dragons that you have in your cave. So whenever they encounter one of these little stop signs, they have to stop. I mean, that's pretty much the general overview that I'd give to someone before I have them start taking turns in the game. There are a few things during the Wyrmspan setup where you have to make a few decisions about the cards that you have. You gain 3 dragon cards, 3 cave cards. You need to choose 4 of them. You can have I would recommend having a player choose those based on the dragons they think look cool. I mean, you don't have to base it off of much more than that. They can also base it off of, and because then they can gain any 3 resources. So the dragons and cave cards that they think look beautiful or cool, they can then gain resources that they need to play the dragons that they select. So those are the things that you need to do at the beginning of the game and the general overview of the game. Then you can have them start taking turns using these suggestions, the quick start guide. So the first turn says either entice or excavate. And so that's where you'll guide someone through their choice to either excavate, which is to play a cave card on the leftmost space of one of these caves and gain a when played benefit of that cave card. Or if they're really excited to play a dragon, they can do that instead. They can do one or the other because there are these pre-excavated caves. So they can choose a dragon that they have the resources to afford, and they're going to play that dragon. They'll pay the entice cost and play that dragon on one of these excavated caves. That's the first turn. The second turn is to do the opposite. If they excavated on the first turn, have them entice. That way they can see how both these actions work. They can get a feel for how they work. Then on the third turn, we still recommend that they entice one more dragon. Before you go exploring, it's nice to have a few different dragons out here. So entice one more dragon before you start to do some explore turns. And then finally, on their fourth turn, we recommend that you ask the player what types of things they need the most to play another dragon. The types of things they can keep in mind while doing that are look at the cave where the dragon is allowed to be played, or caves where the dragon is allowed to be played. Look for spaces, make sure there's a space where that dragon can be played in that cave, and help them gather the resources. Here's the general resource benefit icon to let them play that dragon. And so show them that a lot of the things you'd be doing in the game and saying, okay, here's this dragon card I want to play. Here's what I need to do to get it, and going after, pursuing those things that you need to do to actually play that dragon. Then we have this card that shows on future turns, those things they can consider on future turns. So at this point in the game, players have taken a few turns. They understand the core actions, and now they just need some things to think about. So on future turns, they can think about the objectives in the game, the various objective tiles that you have in the game. They can start to look at those objective tiles. You can have You can ask players that if they're looking to specialize, so focus on one specific cave, or to diversify and go after multiple caves. That's a thing to think about. They can think about dragons with end game ability. So if they have a dragon with an end game scoring ability, they might want to build around that dragon and make sure that they get a lot of points from that dragon. And also, one of the new elements in this game in Wyrmspan is the Dragon Guild. So at some point, even though it is largely just for a while, it's just gaining individual benefits. At certain points in the game, there are larger benefits that you'll gain based on the guild that's in the middle here. And so you'll probably want to have a player gain that Dragon Guild benefit and show players how that Dragon Guild works. Last, there is the how to win card. So as players are definitely comfortable with the game now, you might want to say, okay, in your free time, look at this card and just see the variety of ways where you can score points. You're scoring points from dragons, you're scoring points from cached food or cached resources, cards, and a couple other things. And so you want to mention those things to players for them to keep in mind as they play. But and all the while, this sounds like a bit of a lengthy explanation, but really, as soon as you give that general overview of how to play, I would recommend that you have players start to take turns using this quick start guide suggestion. Have them start actually taking turns and seeing how they work so they can get comfortable with the game. And so they're actually doing things and moving forward in the game instead of sitting through a really long rules explanation. That is my preferred way to teach, and I think that is an effective way of teaching Wyrmspan. I have taught the game that way, and it's worked really well. And also, as I said, there are many similarities and differences between Wyrmspan and Wingspan, and you can point them out to players who understand that context. If someone doesn't know Wingspan, it doesn't matter that you're comparing the two, but if they do know Wingspan, you can point out those little things as you go. I have a full list of those on the website. They're also in the rulebook. If you have any questions or if you have any recommendations that you've learned from teaching Wyrmspan, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks.